My son told me to sleep in the garage 2 months after I buried his mother. Move your stuff out there, old man, Tyler said, standing in the doorway of the bedroom where I'd held Corinza's hand through 18 months of chemotherapy, where I'd watched her take her last breath on January 18th. Emma needs closet space, he continued, gesturing to his girlfriend who was already sorting through Corinza's jewelry. Besides, you're used to sleeping on couches anyway. He wasn't wrong. I'd spent 733 nights on hospital chairs and lobby sofas. Quit my job at Midwest National Bank to be her full-time caregiver. Spent our entire retirement savings on treatments that didn't work. I looked at my son for a moment. Interesting, I said quietly. What Tyler didn't realize was that his mother and I had prepared for this exact moment. Please, click this subscribe button. You won't want to miss how this story ends. The next morning, I watched Tyler and Emma transform my wife's bedroom into their personal suite. They started at 8 a.m. sharp. Tyler had taken the day off from his job at Premier Financial, something about handling family business. Emma arrived with 3 suitcases and a collection of designer handbags, I estimated at around $8,000. Where do you want me to put this old stuff? Emma asked, holding up Corinza's reading glasses, the ones she'd worn every night for 26 years while we read together in bed. Garbage, Tyler said without looking up from his laptop. Most of this junk has no value anyway. I stood in the hallway, quietly photographing everything on my phone. The jewelry box Emma was rifling through contained Corinza's engagement ring, a 2-carat diamond I'd saved 3 months to buy in 1981. The appraisal from last year valued it at $3,200. Tyler noticed me watching. Dad, seriously, we need privacy here. Of course, I said. I'll just gather my things. My things. 43 years of marriage reduced to 2 cardboard boxes and a garbage bag. Corinza's hospital bed was still set up in the living room. The medical supply company was supposed to pick it up next week. Tyler had pushed it against the wall to make room for his gaming setup. You can store your stuff in the garage, Emma said helpfully. There's plenty of space back there. She was right. The garage had been empty since I'd sold my Honda Civic to pay for Corinza's final round of treatments. $18,000 to Dr. Martinez at the oncology center. Money that bought us 6 extra weeks together. As I carried my boxes outside, I noticed Mrs. Patterson watching from her kitchen window next door. Eleanor Patterson, 73 years old, had brought us casseroles every Tuesday during Corinza's illness. She'd seen me loading Corinza into that Honda for every appointment, every emergency room visit, every false hope. She raised her hand in a small wave. I nodded back. Tyler called from inside. Dad, can you move faster? Emma's expecting a delivery. The delivery turned out to be new bedroom furniture, a king-size bed frame, $800 according to the receipt I glimpsed, a matching dresser set, another $600, all charged to Tyler's credit card, the one I'd co-signed for when he was 22 and couldn't qualify on his own. This mattress is so much better than that old thing, Emma said, bouncing on the new bed. How did you even sleep on something so ancient? That ancient mattress was where Corinza and I had celebrated every anniversary, where we'd held Tyler as a newborn, where I'd spooned medicine into her mouth when she was too weak to sit up. The old one had sentimental value, I said quietly. Tyler laughed. Sentimental value doesn't help your back, Dad. Trust me, this is an upgrade. By evening, my personal belongings were arranged in a corner of the garage next to my workbench. Corinza's quilting supplies, which she'd never had the chance to finish, my collection of mystery novels, the photo albums Emma had deemed too depressing for the house. Tyler found me there around 7 p.m., sitting on a folding chair next to a space heater. Look, I know this is an adjustment, he said, but Emma and I are planning our future. We need to think practically. Practical, I repeated. Exactly. You're 59, Dad. You've got plenty of good years left. Maybe this is your chance to downsize, find a nice apartment somewhere. I looked at him carefully. This is my house, Tyler, he shrugged. Technically, yeah, but let's be realistic about the situation here. I'm the one with income now. I'm the one who can maintain this place. I see. Besides, Tyler continued, after everything that happened with Mom's medical bills, I figured you'd want to simplify. Reduce your overhead. Overhead? He was talking about 43 years of memories like they were a business expense. The medical bills were $340,000, I said. I have the receipts organized by month, if you'd like to see them. Tyler shifted uncomfortably. Right. That's exactly what I mean. You can't afford to keep this place up. What Tyler didn't know was that I'd been documenting everything since his mother's diagnosis. Every sacrifice, every financial decision, every conversation. The recording app on my phone had captured the last 10 minutes of our discussion. I understand your perspective, I said. Good. I was worried you might make this difficult. Tyler headed back toward the house, then paused. Oh, and Dad? Emma's having some friends over tomorrow night. Maybe you could stay out here until they leave? They're not really comfortable with the whole grief situation. The grief situation? His mother had been dead for 56 days. Of course, I said. As Tyler walked away, I opened the metal filing cabinet I'd moved from the house. 14 folders of medical bills, organized chronologically. Insurance denials, payment plans, second mortgage documents, and in the back, a manila envelope marked Legal Documents, SJ. But I had something Tyler hadn't seen yet, something his mother had insisted we prepare during her final weeks. Mrs. Patterson's porch light flickered on next door. She was probably wondering why I was sitting in a garage at 8 o'clock on a Tuesday night. Soon everyone would understand. The dinner party happened on Friday night. Emma had invited 6 of her friends from her marketing job at Brightside Communications. I could hear them laughing through the garage wall as I organized Corinza's medical files. Around 8:30, Tyler opened the garage door. Dad, could you come help serve? Emma's a little overwhelmed in there. I looked up from the folder marked Oncology Bills, January 2024. Well, in the final month, $47,000 in charges for treatments that hadn't worked. Of course, I said. Inside, Emma's friends were scattered around our living room. The hospital bed was gone. Tyler had finally arranged pickup, but you could still see the indentations in the carpet where it had sat for 18 months. Everyone, this is Jacob, Emma announced. Tyler's dad. A woman named Jessica raised her wine glass. Emma told us about your situation. I'm so sorry for your loss. Thank you, I said. It must be nice having help around the house, another friend added. Like having a live-in handyman. Tyler grinned. Dad's been pretty useful, actually. He's great with maintenance stuff. I served their dinner. Salmon fillets I'd prepared using Corinza's recipe. $68 worth of fish, charged to my grocery budget. As I poured wine, I listened to their conversation. So, Tyler, when are you planning to renovate? Jessica asked. This place has so much potential. We're thinking next spring, Tyler said. Knock out the wall between the kitchen and dining room. Update the bathrooms, make it more modern. Emma leaned forward excitedly. We want to completely change the vibe. It's so dated right now. Dated. Corinza had spent 3 years planning every detail of our last remodel, choosing paint colors from her hospital bed. The master bedroom is gorgeous now, Emma continued. We threw out all that old-fashioned stuff and started fresh. Smart move, said a man named Brad. Sometimes you have to cut ties with the past to move forward. Tyler nodded. Exactly. My dad's been having trouble with that concept. I was refilling water glasses when Tyler's phone rang, his boss from Premier Financial. I should take this, Tyler said, stepping into the kitchen. I continued serving, moving quietly around the table. Emma's friends didn't seem to notice I was there. Is it weird having him around? Jessica whispered to Emma. I mean, after everything? A little, Emma whispered back. Tyler says his dad never really moved on from being a caregiver. Like, he doesn't know how to have a normal life anymore. That's so sad, another friend said. Some people just get stuck, you know. I set down the wine bottle carefully and excused myself to the garage. My phone was recording everything through the app I'd installed 3 weeks ago. 47 minutes of audio so far, dating back to Tyler's initial garage comment. 20 minutes later, Tyler found me outside. Sorry about that work call, he said. Crisis at the office. No problem. Look, Dad, I've been thinking. Maybe it's time we had a serious conversation about your future. I sat down on my folding chair. I'm listening. Emma and I were talking, and we think you might be happier somewhere smaller. A senior community, maybe. Somewhere with people your own age. I'm 59, Tyler. Right, but you've been through a lot. Caring for mom, losing your job, the financial stress, maybe a fresh start would be good for you. Behind him, I could see Emma's friends through the kitchen window. They were laughing about something on someone's phone. The thing is, Tyler continued, this house is pretty expensive to maintain. Property taxes, utilities, repairs. On my salary, I could handle it. But realistically, you can't. I see. I mean, let's be honest here. Your bank job is gone. Your health isn't great. I've seen you using mom's oxygen machine at night. And emotionally, Dad, you're stuck. You're living in the past. I looked at my son, really looked at him. The boy I'd taught to ride a bike in this driveway. The teenager I'd driven to college in that Honda Civic. The young man I'd co-signed loans for, helped with rent deposits, bailed out of financial trouble 3 times. Tyler, I said quietly, do you remember what I did for work? He looked confused. You were a bank manager. Branch manager at Midwest National. I handled mortgage applications, loan approvals, estate planning consultations. I paused. I understand how money works. Okay, but that was before I spent 3 years managing your mother's care, yes. Before I coordinated with 17 different doctors, handled insurance appeals, organized payment plans for $340,000 in medical expenses. Tyler shifted uncomfortably. Dad, I know you did your best, but I also know how property law works, how inheritance works, how wills and estate transfers work. Something flickered in Tyler's expression. Uncertainty. What are you saying? From inside the house, I could hear Emma calling for Tyler. Her friends were getting ready to leave. I'm saying this conversation has been very educational, I said. Thank you for being so honest about your plans. Tyler stared at me for a moment, then headed back inside. Through the window, I watched him rejoin the party, slipping easily back into host mode. I pulled out my phone and stopped the recording. 47 minutes had become 63 minutes, every word captured in crystal clear audio. The next morning, I made a phone call Tyler would never forget. Saturday morning, I discovered Tyler was selling Corinza's jewelry on eBay. I found the listings while checking my email on the kitchen computer. Tyler had left his browser open, signed into his account. 13 items posted overnight. Vintage 14-karat gold wedding set, $1,800 OBO. The engagement ring I'd saved 3 months to buy. The wedding band we'd chosen together at Morrison's Jewelry on State Street, professionally appraised last year at $4,200. I scrolled through the other listings. Corinza's pearl necklace from our 10th anniversary, her grandmother's diamond brooch, the sapphire earrings I'd given her for our 25th. Total estimated value from the appraisals, $12,400. Tyler's asking prices, $6,800. I printed the screenshots. Each listing, each undervalued price, each casual description that reduced 43 years of love to estate sale items. Tyler wandered into the kitchen around 9, still in his pajamas. Morning, Dad. Sleep okay out there? Fine, thank you. He poured coffee into Corinza's favorite mug, the blue ceramic one that said World's Best Mom. Emma had claimed it yesterday along with most of Corinza's kitchen items. Tyler, I said carefully, I noticed some activity on eBay. He froze, coffee halfway to his lips. Yeah, well, Mom's stuff was just sitting there. Seemed wasteful. The engagement ring is listed for $1,800. Right. Good price considering the market. I pulled out the insurance appraisal from my folder. The professional evaluation was $4,200. Tyler set down the mug. Dad, you can't live in the past forever. This stuff has sentimental value to you, but practically speaking, it's just jewelry nobody wears. Your mother wore that ring every day for 43 years. Sickly. It's old-fashioned. Emma looked at it. She said the setting is completely outdated. I felt something cold settle in my chest. Not anger, something more focused. I see. Look, I know this is hard, but we need to be realistic about finances. The medical bills wiped you out. I'm trying to help recover some value here. Tyler opened his laptop and showed me his eBay dashboard. I've already got 3 bids on the pearl necklace. People appreciate vintage pieces. 3 bids. Corinza's grandmother's pearls, passed down through 3 generations, reduced to vintage merchandise. The funeral was 8 weeks ago, Tyler. I know that. But grief doesn't pay bills, Dad. He was right about the bills. The second mortgage on the house to cover treatment costs. The credit card debt from supplemental insurance. The personal loan from my brother-in-law that I'd never be able to repay. But Tyler didn't know everything. You're absolutely right, I said. Dead people don't need jewelry. Tyler looked surprised by my agreement. Exactly. I gathered the eBay screenshots and headed toward the garage. I'm going to let you handle this however you think best. Thanks, Dad. I know it's not easy, but it's the practical choice. In the garage, I opened the filing cabinet and pulled out the manila envelope marked Legal Documents, SJ. Inside, photocopies of paperwork Corenza and I had prepared during her final month. Property deed transfer dated October 15th, 2023. Corenza's signature, witnessed by our attorney, Janet Williams and Dr. Martinez from Oncology. Corenza's last will and testament, dated October 18th, 2023, 3 days before she lost the ability to sign legal documents, and the letter she'd insisted on writing, in her own handwriting, explaining her decisions. I sat in my folding chair and read her letter again, her words in blue ink, shaky from the chemotherapy but perfectly legible. If Tyler shows disrespect to Jacob after my death, if he tries to force Jacob from our home, if he treats Jacob's sacrifice with contempt, then he has proven he doesn't understand the value of love over money. In that case, I want our house to go to people who understand sacrifice, the families at St. Jude Children's Hospital. Corenza had been very specific about the conditions, very clear about her expectations. Tyler was selling her jewelry for quick cash, while demanding I sleep in the garage. I pulled out my phone and dialed Attorney Williams' number. Janet, this is Jacob Johnson. I think it's time to execute Corenza's instructions. Through the kitchen window, I could see Tyler on his laptop, probably managing his eBay auctions. Emma was beside him, pointing at something on the screen and laughing. They had no idea what was coming. The next morning, I made a decision that would change everything. Monday morning at 10:15 a.m., I served Tyler his eviction notice. He was on a Zoom call with clients from Premier Financial, discussing portfolio management strategies. I could see him through the kitchen window, sitting at our dining room table in his crisp white shirt and tie, looking every inch the successful young professional. I knocked on the doorframe and held up the legal documents. Tyler muted his microphone. Dad, I'm in a meeting. This will only take a moment. I handed him the official notice. 30 days to vacate the premises, as required by Iowa state law. Attorney Williams had prepared everything according to legal specifications. Tyler glanced at the papers, then looked at me with that same smug expression from Friday night. Are you serious with this? Completely serious. He unmuted his microphone. Sorry, folks, family emergency. Can we reschedule for this afternoon? After ending the call, Tyler stood up and waved the papers at me. Dad, you can't evict me from my own house. Actually, I can. This is ridiculous. I'm your son. That's correct. Tyler laughed, not a pleasant sound. You realize I make $67,000 a year, right? You realize I can afford a lawyer? I'm counting on it. Emma appeared from the bedroom, wrapped in Corenza's old bathrobe. What's all the yelling about? My dad thinks he can kick me out, Tyler said, showing her the eviction notice. Emma read over the documents. Jacob, this is kind of harsh, don't you think? Tyler's just trying to help with the financial situation. I understand his perspective. Besides, Tyler added, where exactly do you think I'm going to get first month's rent, last month's rent, and a security deposit? You know I don't have that kind of cash sitting around. He was right. Tyler lived paycheck to paycheck despite his decent salary. Car payments on his Tesla Model Y, student loans from his business degree, credit cards he'd maxed out furnishing his previous apartment. That sounds like a personal budgeting issue, I said. Tyler's confident expression flickered, just for a moment. Dad, let's be realistic here. You can't maintain this house on your own. You don't have income. You don't have savings. This eviction thing is just... He gestured vaguely. It's just grief making you irrational. Perhaps. Look, I'll make you a deal. Forget this eviction nonsense, and I'll help you find a nice senior apartment. Something affordable. We can even visit some places together. Emma nodded enthusiastically. There are some really nice assisted living communities around here, with people your own age. I'm 59. Right. But after everything you've been through, Tyler's voice took on a patronizing tone. Dad, caring for Mom broke something in you. You're not thinking clearly. I looked at my son, 29 years old, master's degree in business administration, 5 years of experience in financial planning. Tyler, I said quietly, what do you know about property ownership law? Enough. What do you know about inheritance procedures? Dad, where are you going with this? What do you know about your mother's will? Something shifted in Tyler's expression, a flicker of uncertainty. Mom didn't have a will? She died too fast for all that legal stuff. Emma squeezed his hand supportively. It's okay, baby. Your dad's just processing grief in his own way. I folded the copy of the eviction notice and put it in my pocket. You have 30 days, Tyler. I suggest you start looking for alternative housing. This is insane, Tyler said. I'm calling a lawyer. That's your right. As I headed back to the garage, I heard Tyler on the phone with someone, his voice rising. Brian? It's Tyler Johnson. I need legal advice about an eviction notice. 30 days. Tyler's attorney was about to get the shock of his career. Tyler's lawyer called me Tuesday afternoon while I was organizing Corinza's medical files in the garage. Mr. Johnson, this is Brian Mitchell from Mitchell & Associates. I represent your son Tyler regarding the eviction notice you served. Yes. Sir, I have to be frank with you. This eviction appears to be retaliatory in nature. Adult children have certain rights when living in their family home, especially when they've been contributing to household expenses. I set down the folder marked Chemotherapy Bills, December 2023, $43,000 for Corinza's final month of treatment. Has Tyler been contributing to household expenses? I asked. A pause. Well, he's indicated he's been helping with maintenance and upkeep. I see. What specific expenses has he documented? Another pause. Mr. Johnson, the point is that evicting your son appears vindictive. Frankly, it suggests elder abuse on your part. Elder abuse. Interesting choice of words. Mr. Mitchell, are you familiar with Iowa property law? Of course. Are you familiar with inheritance procedures? Mr. Johnson, I don't see how that's relevant. Your son has been living in the family home. He has established residency. You can't simply throw him out because you're having emotional difficulties processing your wife's death. I opened my filing cabinet and pulled out the manila envelope. Mr. Mitchell, I think you should examine the property ownership documents before proceeding with any legal action. What do you mean? I mean you should research who actually owns this house. Silence on the other end. Mr. Johnson, are you suggesting... I'm suggesting you do your due diligence before threatening me with elder abuse claims. After I hung up, I could hear Tyler pacing in the kitchen, talking rapidly on his phone. Brian, what do you mean research the ownership? It's my family's house. My dad bought it in 1986. I smiled and continued organizing medical bills. An hour later, Tyler burst into the garage. Dad, what the hell did you say to my lawyer? I suggested he research property ownership. What's that supposed to mean? It means exactly what it sounds like. Tyler's face was flushed. Behind him, Emma hovered in the doorway, looking nervous. Dad, I don't have time for games. Brian says there might be some confusion about the house ownership. No confusion on my part. Well, then explain it to me. I pulled out the photocopied deed transfer dated October 15th, 2023. Your mother and I transferred the property into her name during her final month. Tyler grabbed the document. Why would you do that? Estate planning, tax purposes, protection of assets during medical bankruptcy, which was partially true. We had been concerned about asset protection. Tyler studied the paperwork. Okay, so the house was in Mom's name. She's dead now. That means it goes to her next of kin. Not necessarily. What do you mean, not necessarily? Emma stepped forward. Jacob, Tyler's her son. He's the automatic heir, only if she died without a will. Tyler went very still. Mom didn't have a will. Are you certain about that? Dad, she was too sick. She died too fast. There wasn't time for legal stuff. I pulled out the second document. Corinza's last will and testament, dated October 18th, 2023. Tyler's hands shook as he read it. This can't be legal. She was on pain medication. She wasn't thinking clearly. Dr. Martinez certified her mental competency on October 17th. Attorney Williams witnessed the signing. Everything was properly notarized. Emma read over Tyler's shoulder. Wait, what does this mean? Property to be donated to St. Jude Children's Hospital? It means, I said quietly, that your mother left the house to charity. Tyler's face went white. That's impossible. She was very specific about her reasoning. Would you like to read her letter? I handed him Corenza's handwritten note. Tyler read it twice, his expression shifting from confusion to disbelief to something approaching panic. She can't do this. I'm her son. She could, and she did. But why? I looked at Tyler for a long moment. She explained her reasoning in the letter. Tyler read it again. If Tyler shows disrespect to Jacob after my death, if he treats Jacob's sacrifice with contempt, he looked up at me. This is about the garage thing? Among other things. Dad, I was just trying to be practical about space. You told me to sleep in the garage 2 months after I buried your mother. That's not... I didn't mean it like that. Emma was reading the letter now, her face pale. Tyler, this says the donation is conditional, based on your behavior. What does that mean? I pulled out the attorney's explanation letter. It means if you demonstrated appropriate respect and gratitude for my caregiving sacrifice, the house would have remained in the family. If you demonstrated contempt and entitlement, it would go to charity. And selling Mom's jewelry, Emma asked quietly, that was mentioned specifically in your mother's instructions to Attorney Williams. Tyler slumped into my folding chair. So what happens now? Now you have 28 days to find alternative housing. But I don't have money for deposits and rent. That sounds like a personal budgeting issue. Tyler looked at me with something I'd never seen before. Fear. Dad, please. I'm sorry about the garage comment. I'm sorry about the jewelry. I was just trying to help with finances. I understand. So we can fix this, right? We can work something out? Tyler's lawyer was about to get the shock of his career. And Tyler was about to learn that some decisions can't be undone. Wednesday morning, Tyler spent 4 hours at the Johnson County Courthouse researching property records. I knew this because Mrs. Patterson had seen him leave at 8 a.m. with a briefcase and a desperate expression. He didn't return until afternoon. When he came back, he looked like he'd seen a ghost. Dad, we need to talk. I was sitting in the garage reading one of Corenza's mystery novels. She'd never finished the series. Cancer had stolen that from her too. I'm listening. Tyler pulled up Emma's designer chair, the one they'd moved from the bedroom. His hands were shaking slightly. I went to the courthouse. I checked the records. And the property transfer is real. October 15th, just like you said. I told you it was. But Dad, I also checked Mom's will filing. It's been registered with the probate court since November. I marked my place in the book and looked at him. November 15th, to be exact, Tyler continued. 3 weeks after the funeral. Yes. You've known about this for 4 months. Yes. Tyler's voice cracked slightly. You've been watching me? Waiting for me to mess up. Your mother was watching, Tyler. Through me, he pulled out a folder of photocopied documents. I also researched the conditional clauses. This type of conditional inheritance, it's legal, but it's rare. Attorney Williams specializes in complex estate planning. The conditions are very specific. Demonstrated respect for surviving spouse's sacrifice and caregiving. Appropriate gratitude for financial support provided. Recognition of parental contributions to beneficiary's success. Tyler looked up at me. Mom wrote this like she knew exactly what I would do. She knew you better than you knew yourself. But I don't understand. Why set a trap? Why not just talk to me? I closed Corenza's book carefully. Tyler, how much money do you think I spent on your education? I don't know. College was expensive. $87,400. State tuition, books, living expenses for 4 years, plus the master's program. Tyler was quiet. How much do you think I spent helping you get established after graduation? First apartment deposits, car down payment, professional wardrobe, student loan payments when you were unemployed for 6 months? Dad, I don't... $31,200. I have receipts for everything. Okay, but that's what parents do. And how much do you think your mother and I spent on medical bills trying to save her life? Tyler's voice was barely a whisper. You said $342,867. Exact figure. I pulled out my calculator and showed him the math. Total investment in your future, $118,600. Total investment in trying to save your mother, $342,867. Tyler stared at the numbers. Your mother spent nearly 3 times more money trying to stay alive for you than we spent raising you. And when she died, you told me to sleep in the garage. Dad, I didn't think. No, you didn't think. You saw an opportunity to upgrade your living situation, and you took it, without considering what I'd sacrificed, without considering what she'd suffered. Tyler was crying now. I'm sorry. Your mother wrote that will in October because she could see who you were becoming. She hoped you'd prove her wrong. But I can change. I can do better. I picked up Carenza's book again. Tyler, do you know what your mother's favorite mystery writer used to say about consequences? No. The truth doesn't care about timing. It just waits for the right moment to reveal itself. Tyler sat there for a long time, processing what he'd learned. Emma called his name from inside the house, but he didn't respond. Finally, he looked at me. So, there's really no way to fix this? The next 24 hours would answer that question, and Tyler wouldn't like what he discovered. Thursday evening, Tyler made his final desperate play in front of witnesses. He'd spent the day calling family members, trying to build support for contesting the will. His Aunt Linda drove down from Des Moines. His cousin Mark came over after work. Even Mrs. Patterson from next door was invited to what Tyler called a family meeting to resolve this misunderstanding. They gathered in the living room at 6 p.m. Tyler had prepared a presentation on his laptop, complete with charts and legal research. Everyone, thank you for coming, Tyler began. We're here because my father is making a serious mistake that will hurt our entire family. Aunt Linda nodded sympathetically. Jacob, we're all worried about you. This isn't like you. I appreciate your concern, I said from my position by the kitchen doorway. Tyler clicked to his first slide. Here's the situation. Dad is trying to give away our family home to strangers because he's angry about a misunderstanding. Emma sat beside him, nodding supportively. Jacob has been grieving really hard. We think the isolation in the garage has affected his judgment. The garage that you insisted I sleep in? I asked quietly. Dad, that was just a temporary space issue. You're twisting it into something it wasn't. Mrs. Patterson raised her hand slightly. Tyler, dear, I saw you moving your father's belongings outside. It didn't look temporary. Tyler's confidence flickered. Mrs. Patterson, with respect, you might have misunderstood what you were seeing. I don't think so. Cousin Mark leaned forward. Uncle Jacob, Tyler says there's a will that gives the house to charity. That seems extreme. Your mother wrote very specific conditions, I said to Tyler. Would you like me to read them aloud? Dad, please. Let's not air private family business. Tyler, Aunt Linda said, what exactly did you do that upset your father so much? Tyler looked around the room, searching for support. I made practical suggestions about living arrangements. I tried to help with financial decisions. I was being responsible. I pulled out my phone. Would everyone like to hear Tyler's exact words about those practical suggestions? Tyler went pale. Dad, don't. This is from March 12th, approximately 9:15 p.m. I pressed play on the audio recording. Tyler's voice filled the room. Sleep in the garage, old man. Emma and I need the space. You can set up a cot out there. Silence. Emma shifted uncomfortably. That sounds worse out of context. Here's more context, I said, advancing the recording. This is from March 15th. Tyler's voice again. Besides, you're used to sleeping on couches anyway. My dad's basically a live-in handyman now. Aunt Linda's expression had changed completely. Tyler, this was 2 months after your mother died? It's not. I didn't mean it like that. Here's my personal favorite, I said, finding another clip. From March 20th. Tyler's voice laughing. Dead people don't need jewelry. Dad's too sentimental about old stuff that has no value. Mrs. Patterson gasped. Tyler, that's your mother's jewelry. I was trying to help with finances. I pulled out the eBay screenshots. Tyler listed his mother's engagement ring for $1,800. The insurance appraisal was $4,200. Cousin Mark studied the printouts. You were selling Aunt Carenza's jewelry? On eBay? For quick cash, I added, while telling me I couldn't afford to maintain the house. Tyler stood up abruptly. This is ridiculous. I'm being ambushed here. Sit down, Tyler, Aunt Linda said sharply. We're not finished. Emma tried to defend him. Tyler's been under a lot of stress, taking care of financial responsibilities, dealing with Jacob's grief, trying to plan for the future. What financial responsibilities? I asked. Well, he's been helping with... Tyler, how much money have you contributed to household expenses since moving in? Tyler looked around the room desperately. I bought groceries a few times. How much? I don't know exactly. Maybe $200. I pulled out my expense tracker. I've spent $1,400 on groceries since January 25th. You've contributed $137. That covers about 9 days. Mrs. Patterson shook her head. Tyler, your father quit his job to care for your mother. He spent every penny he had on her medical bills. I know that, but 733 nights sleeping in hospital chairs, I continued. 18 months of round-the-clock care. $342,000 in medical expenses. Aunt Linda was staring at Tyler like she'd never seen him before. And when Corinza died, you told Jacob to sleep in the garage? It wasn't like that. It was exactly like that, Mrs. Patterson said firmly. I watched Jacob carry his belongings outside while you and your girlfriend redecorated Corinza's bedroom. Tyler's face was red now. You people don't understand the situation. We understand perfectly, Cousin Mark said quietly. The question is, do you? I walked to the filing cabinet and pulled out Corinza's handwritten letter. Your mother's final words about this situation, I said, handing it to Aunt Linda. She read it aloud. If Tyler shows disrespect to Jacob after my death, if he treats Jacob's sacrifice with contempt, then he has proven he doesn't understand the value of love over money. The room was completely silent. Tyler, Aunt Linda said finally, your mother was right. Tyler looked around the room one more time, searching for any ally, finding none. This is insane, he said. You're all turning against me based on selective evidence. The evidence isn't selective, I said quietly. It's comprehensive. What happened next would destroy Tyler's world completely, and everyone in that room would witness his final downfall. Friday morning, Tyler's world began to collapse in real time. It started with a text from Emma at 7:30 a.m. I can't do this anymore. Moving out today. Don't contact me. Tyler found me in the garage, making coffee on Corinza's old camping stove. Emma left, he said. His voice was hollow. I'm sorry to hear that. No, you're not. Tyler slumped against my workbench. She said being with me makes her look bad. Said her friends think she's dating someone who abuses elderly parents. I poured coffee into 2 mugs, offered him one. Tyler, I'm not elderly. I'm 59. That's what I told her. He took the coffee with shaking hands. She said that makes it worse. That I was cruel to my own father during his grief. Through the kitchen window, I could see Emma loading her designer bags into her friend's car, the bags I'd estimated at $8,000. Dad, I need to tell you something. I'm listening. Yesterday, after everyone left, I called work. I told my boss what was happening. I waited. I thought maybe Premier Financial could help. You know, employee assistance program, legal advice, something. Tyler took a shaky sip of coffee. Mr. Davidson asked me to explain the situation, so I told him about the eviction, about Mom's will, about the house going to charity. And he asked why you were evicting me. So I explained about the garage sleeping arrangement, about selling Mom's jewelry to help with finances. I had a feeling I knew where this was going. Dad, Mr. Davidson's mother died of cancer last year. He spent 2 years as her caregiver. Tyler's hands were trembling now. When I told him I'd asked you to sleep in the garage 2 months after Mom died, when I explained about calling you a live-in handyman, Tyler's voice cracked. He said I was disgusting. I see. He said any man who would abuse his grieving father didn't deserve to handle other people's money. Tyler set down his coffee mug. He fired me, Dad. Yesterday afternoon, said Premier Financial couldn't employ someone with such poor character judgment. I'm sorry, Tyler. Are you? Are you really? I looked at my son, 29 years old, no job, no girlfriend, no home, no inheritance. Yes, I'm sorry. Sorry that you became someone who would treat sacrifice with contempt. Tyler was crying now. I didn't mean for it to happen like this. What did you mean to happen? I thought you'd eventually move somewhere smaller. Get a little apartment. Maybe find someone new to take care of you. Someone new to take care of me. Yeah, someone your own age. I pulled out my phone and showed Tyler a document I'd photographed yesterday. Tyler, do you know what this is? He squinted at the screen. Medical records? My medical records. From Mayo Clinic. Tyler went very still. December 3rd, 2023. 6 months to 2 years, depending on treatment response. What are you saying? I'm saying I have the same cancer that killed your mother. Tyler's face went white. That's impossible. Stage 3 pancreatic cancer, diagnosed 2 weeks before your mother died. Why didn't you tell me? Because your mother asked me not to. She wanted you to have the chance to show who you really were without the pressure of knowing I was dying. Tyler stared at me. So when I told you to sleep in the garage, you were telling your terminally ill father to sleep in the garage while you redecorated the room where his wife died. The coffee mug slipped from Tyler's hands and shattered on the concrete floor. Dad, I didn't know. Would it have mattered? Tyler couldn't answer. Your mother wanted to believe you'd honor my sacrifice regardless of my health status. She wanted to believe you'd show respect for what I'd done for your family. But I can make this right. I can take care of you now. Tyler, yesterday you called me pathetic in front of strangers. You said I was emotionally damaged and needed professional care. I was angry. You were honest. Tyler looked around the garage, at the folding chair where I'd been sleeping, at the boxes of his mother's belongings, at the medical bills organized in 14 manila folders. So what happens now? I picked up Corenza's mystery novel. Now you have 21 days to find somewhere else to live. And then St. Jude Children's Hospital gets a house, and I spend my remaining time with people who understand the value of sacrifice. Tyler started to say something, then stopped. He looked at me for a long moment, then walked toward the house. At the doorway, he turned back. Dad? Yes? I really am sorry. I know you are, Tyler. But sorry doesn't change who you chose to be. 3 months later, I'm writing this from Mercy Hospital's hospice wing. Tyler moved out on April 15th. Found a studio apartment across town for $900 a month. He got a new job at a smaller firm, 20% pay cut, but they were willing to hire someone with his recent difficulties. The house transferred to St. Jude Children's Hospital on May 1st. They've designated it as temporary housing for families with children receiving treatment. Corenza would have loved that. Tyler visits once a week now, brings coffee and sits quietly while I read. We don't talk much about what happened. There's nothing left to say. Yesterday, he brought me a newspaper clipping, an article about St. Jude expanding their family housing program. Our house was mentioned by name. Mom would be proud, he said quietly. Yes, she would. Tyler's learning to cook for himself, learning to budget on a smaller salary, learning what sacrifice actually means. It's too late for our relationship, but maybe not too late for him to become a better person. Mrs. Patterson stops by every few days. She brings updates from the neighborhood, pictures of the family,